My friend, if you're listening to this right now, it's because there's something within you that seeks more. Perhaps you feel the weight of uncertainty, the rush of a life that sometimes seems out of control, or the thirst for an inner peace that feels elusive. You are in the right place. Today, we're going to embark on a profound journey, a journey towards an ancient wisdom that, I promise you, has the power to transform every fiber of your existence. This isn't an empty promise, it's an invitation to awaken, to reclaim the strength that already resides within you. Get ready, because what you're about to hear aren't just words. They are seeds of radical change that will sprout in your soul. The inner compass, your path to personal mastery. Think for a moment about your daily life. How often do you feel dragged along by circumstances, by the opinions of others, by the incessant noise of the world? It's as if we're adrift in a stormy sea, without a compass, without an anchor. But what if I told you that this compass has always been within you? What if I told you that true mastery isn't about controlling the external world, but about governing your own inner kingdom? For centuries, a philosophy has offered a clear map for this journey. It's not a rigid doctrine, but a flexible guide, a set of time-tested principles that teach us to live with serenity amidst chaos, with courage in the face of adversity, and with a wisdom that allows us to see beyond the superficial. I'm talking about Stoicism. Don't imagine ancient philosophers in robes, lecturing in dead languages. Imagine warriors, emperors, slaves who, despite their vast differences in life, found common ground in the pursuit of virtue and tranquility. And the most astonishing thing is that these truths, born thousands of years ago, are more relevant today than ever. In a world where anxiety and stress seem to be the common currency, Stoic habits are the antidote. They are the way to not only survive, but to thrive in any circumstance. We're going to explore 10 of these habits together, 10 pillars that, if you integrate them into your life, will not only change it, but will reveal the immense strength that has always been waiting to be unleashed within you. This isn't an easy path. It requires intention, practice, and a dose of humility. But I guarantee that every step you take in this direction will bring you closer to the most powerful, most peaceful, and most fulfilling version of yourself. Are you ready? Then, take a deep breath. The journey begins now. Stoic habit number 1. Discerning what is within your control and what is not. This, my friend, is the foundation of everything. It's the most liberating truth you'll ever learn. Imagine life as a vast ocean. There are waves you can control, the way you row, the direction of your boat, your attitude towards the storm. But there are other waves that simply come and go, beyond your will, the weather, the size of the waves, the presence of other boats. Too often, we expend our precious energy, our mental and emotional health, trying to control the uncontrollable. We worry about what others think of us, about future events that haven't happened yet, about the past that we can no longer change. It's like trying to stop the rain with a tiny umbrella while a storm approaches. It's exhausting and, ultimately, futile. The Stoics teach us a fundamental distinction. There are things that are within our absolute control, and things that are not. What's within your control are your judgments, your impulses, your desires, your aversions, in essence, your internal choices, the way you respond to what happens to you. Everything else, the weather, traffic, your boss's opinion, your body's health, the global economy, other people's lives, all of that is beyond your control. When you internalize this truth, something magical happens. Anxiety diminishes, resentment fades, frustration loses its power. You stop fighting windmills and start focusing your energy where it truly matters, on the only thing you can control, which is yourself. Think of a recent situation that caused you stress. Was it something you could directly control? Or was it an external circumstance to which you reacted? Perhaps you felt frustrated by traffic. Could you control the traffic? No. But could you control your reaction to it? Absolutely. You could have chosen to listen to an audiobook, practice gratitude for having a car, or simply accept that sometimes life throws unexpected pauses at us. This doesn't mean you should become passive or indifferent to injustices or the world's problems. It means that, even in the face of what you can't directly change, your focus should always be your response. You can advocate for change, you can work to influence circumstances, but your inner peace should not depend on the external outcome, but on the purity of your intention and the wisdom of your action. This distinction is the basis for building an impregnable mental fortress. Imagine the freedom that comes from understanding this on a deep level. You'll no longer be a leaf in the wind of others' opinions or catastrophic news. You will have an anchor within you, a solid rock upon which to build your well-being, regardless of the external tide. This is true autonomy, the ability to govern yourself, No matter what the universe throws at you, practice it every day. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, how can I choose to respond in the wisest and most serene way possible? This simple question is a master key to your freedom. With each conscious response, you'll strengthen this crucial muscle and take another step closer to emotional invulnerability. Stoic habit number 2. Practicing negative visualization. Premeditatio malorum. This habit might sound a little gloomy at first, but I assure you it's one of the most powerful tools for cultivating gratitude and resilience. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. What does this mean? It's not about being pessimistic or expecting the worst at all times. It's about actively visualizing the things you value: your loved ones, your health, your home, your work, as if you could lose them one day. Imagine for a moment that a loved one is no longer with you. How would you feel? What would you do? Feel the pang of that possible loss. Now, open your eyes to the present. That person is here, by your side, right now. Doesn't a wave of profound gratitude wash over you for their presence? We do this because our minds tend to take blessings for granted. We get used to comfort, to security, to the constant presence of what we love, and it's in that habituation that danger lies. When we take things for granted, we lose the ability to truly appreciate them. And when we lose them, the blow is much more devastating. By practicing negative visualization, you mentally prepare for the impermanence of everything. You understand that nothing is permanent, that everything can change in an instant. And by accepting this reality, paradoxically, you become stronger and more grateful for what you have now. Think about your health. What if one day you couldn't move with the same ease? What if you lost your sight or hearing? By contemplating that possibility, suddenly, every step you take, every image you see, every sound you hear becomes a miracle. You appreciate the simple act of breathing, walking, feeling. This exercise isn't about generating lasting fear or sadness. Its goal is an awakening. It's to shake you out of complacency and remind you of the preciousness of your life as it is. In this moment, it teaches you not to postpone happiness, not to wait for things to be perfect to feel good. It pushes you to savor every moment, to appreciate the people in your life today, to take care of what you have now. Furthermore, premeditatio malorum equips you for real adversity. When life inevitably hits you with a loss or a setback, you won't be completely caught off guard. You will have trained your mind to face the possibility, which will allow you to process the pain with greater resilience and find the strength to move forward more quickly. You don't eliminate the pain, but you mitigate the impact of the shock and the feeling of injustice. Imagine it as a mental rehearsal for life's most difficult scenarios. By rehearsing these situations in your mind, you build a kind of acceptance muscle. When the blow comes in reality, that muscle is stronger, and your ability to adapt and recover is significantly greater. It's an emotional investment in your future peace. Negative visualization is a vaccine against complacency and a powerful catalyst for gratitude. It makes you more resilient in the face of adversity because you've already contemplated the possibility of loss. And most importantly, it anchors you in the present, in the richness of what you have, right here, right now. It's a way to love life more deeply by recognizing its fragility and immense beauty. Stoic habit number 3. Embracing impermanence, memento mori. This habit intertwines with the previous one, but it goes a step further. Memento mori, remember that you will die. Sounds harsh, doesn't it? But it's not a message of despair, but a powerful call to life. In modern society, we avoid talking about death. We hide it, we disguise it. But in doing so, we also hide from a fundamental truth, our own mortality. And by ignoring it, we often postpone our lives. We say, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll travel next year, I'll forgive when I have time. But what if that time never comes? The Stoics didn't see death as a fearful end, but as a constant reminder of the urgency of living. If you remembered every day that this could be your last, how would your priorities change? Would you still worry about small offenses, about trivial arguments? Would you still postpone your dreams, your happiness, your growth? Embracing impermanence isn't an invitation to passivity, but to decisive action. It pushes you to live with a sense of purpose, to not take a single moment for granted. If we know the curtain will fall one day, shouldn't we make sure our play is worth remembering? This habit frees you from the fear of failure, because it helps you understand that true failure is not having lived at all, not having tried, not having loved fully. It pushes you to be authentic, to express your truth, to build meaningful relationships, to seek knowledge, to contribute to the world in the best possible way. Think about the moments when you felt most alive. They were probably moments of total immersion, authenticity, connection. This habit invites you to seek those moments every day. It reminds you that life is finite, and precisely for that reason, it's so precious. Furthermore, memento mori is an antidote to procrastination. How often do we tell ourselves, "There will be time"? This constant reminder of the finitude of our time pushes us to act now, to pursue our values, to forgive, to love, to be bold. It's not about living in constant panic, but about living with a clarity that eliminates unnecessary excuses and delays. Embracing impermanence is also recognizing that not only our lives are finite, but everything around us is. Our relationships, our possessions, our youth. This truth, far from being depressing, is liberating. It allows you to fully enjoy what you have in the present, without clinging to it with desperation. Knowing that every moment is an ephemeral and unique gift. It's not about living with a sword of Damocles hanging over your head, but about living with astonishing clarity about what truly matters. It's a call to greatness, to meaningfulness, to live in such a way that, when the time comes to depart, you can look back without regrets, knowing that you squeezed every drop of life granted to you. Live today, love today, learn today, be the person you always wanted to be today. Stoic habit number 4. Practicing self-discipline and moderation. In a world of excess and instant gratification, self-discipline and moderation sound almost revolutionary. But for the Stoics, they were fundamental pillars of a life well lived, a virtuous life. It's not about denying yourself pleasures or living an austere life for its own sake. It's about being the master of your desires, not their slave. Think about how many times you've been driven by an impulse, by a momentary emotion, and then regretted it. Overeating, overspending, falling into vices you know don't benefit you. All of this stems from a lack of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to do what you know is right, even when you don't feel like it. It's the willpower to postpone instant gratification in favor of a greater long-term good. It's the ability to say no to distractions that pull you away from your goals and values. The Stoics practice deliberate exercises in moderation. Sometimes, they voluntarily deprive themselves of certain luxuries or comforts for a short period of time. Why? To strengthen their spirit, to remember that they are not slaves to their possessions or their pleasures, and to prepare for adversity. If you can go a day without your morning coffee, or a week with fewer comforts, you realize that your happiness doesn't depend on those external things. You become more resilient. This habit is not a restriction, but a liberation. When you master your impulses, you free yourself from the tyranny of your desires. You become the pilot of your own life, not a passenger dragged along by every current. Moderation in food, drink, information consumption, spending, and leisure allows you to have more energy, more mental clarity, and more resources for what truly matters. Think about the benefits of moderation: fewer distractions, more focus, less impulsive spending, more financial security, less excessive indulgence, more health and vitality. It's a virtuous cycle. When you're disciplined in one area of your life, that discipline tends to spread to other areas. You become more reliable to yourself, and that builds deep trust and self-esteem. Self-discipline allows you to build positive habits that benefit you in the long run, even when the initial motivation fades. It's the ability to show up and do the work, whether it's exercise, study, meditation, or anything else that contributes to your growth and well-being. Without it, your noblest intentions remain fleeting desires. Moderation, on the other hand, protects you from excess that often leads to suffering. Too much food makes you sick. Too much spending puts you in debt. Too much information overwhelms you. Moderation is not deprivation, it is balance. It's finding that sweet spot where you get the benefit without the negative consequence. Self-discipline is the muscle that allows you to achieve your goals, whatever they may be. It is the strength that allows you to keep going when you feel unmotivated. It is the wisdom to know when to say enough. It is not a punishment, but an investment in your future self, an investment in your freedom. Start small. Choose an area where you'd like to exercise more control and practice moderation. You'll see how, with each small victory, your inner strength grows exponentially. Stoic habit number 5, reflecting daily Stoic journaling. If the previous habits are actions, this is the laboratory where you analyze and improve them. Daily reflection, often in the form of a Stoic journal, was a central practice for great minds like Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus. What does this mean? At the end of each day, or the beginning of the next, you dedicate some time, perhaps just 10 or 15 minutes, to review your thoughts and actions. It's not a judgment, but a dispassionate observation. You ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where did I act in accordance with my values? Where did I show courage, wisdom, justice, moderation? Where could I have done better? Did I get carried away by anger, envy, unnecessary worry? Did I react impulsively? How could I have responded in a more stoic way? What obstacles did I face? Were they internal or external? Were they within my control? What did I learn from today's experiences? What stoic principle could I apply better next time? This exercise isn't a way to punish yourself for your mistakes, but to learn from them. It's like an athlete reviewing their performance after a game to identify areas for improvement. By doing so, you become more aware of your thought patterns, your emotional triggers, and your automatic reactions. The Stoic Journal is your mirror of the soul. It allows you to see your progress, recognize your strengths, and most importantly, identify where you need to work harder. It helps you close the gap between the person you are and the person you aspire to be. Imagine that each day is an opportunity to fine-tune your inner compass. If you don't check it, if you don't stop to see where you veered off course or where you navigated with mastery, how will you improve your direction? This practice keeps you humble and proactive. It prevents you from falling into complacency and forces you into constant growth. This practice of introspection gives you the gift of self-awareness. Without it, we are like rudderless ships, reacting impulsively to every wave. With it, we begin to understand the mechanisms of our own minds, to identify the internal voices that limit or propel us, and to make more deliberate decisions aligned with our values. Furthermore, Stoic journaling allows you to practice objectivity. By writing about an event, you can emotionally distance yourself from it and see it more clearly. This is crucial for applying the first habit, identifying what was within your control and what wasn't, and thus avoiding unnecessary suffering over external things. This habit is the meta skill that strengthens all the others. Without it, it's easy to lose your way, forget what you've learned, and repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Make daily reflection a sacred ritual. It's your time to grow, to learn, to know yourself on a deeper level. It's your path to practical wisdom and a more intentional life. Stoic habit number 6. Practicing indifference to indifferent things. This habit is one of the most misunderstood ideas in Stoicism, but also one of the most liberating. When the Stoics speak of indifferent things, they don't mean being apathetic or not caring about anything. They refer to those things that, in themselves, are neither intrinsically good nor bad. Think about money, health, fame, beauty, material possessions. Are they good? Are they bad? The Stoics would say they are indifferent. They have no intrinsic moral value. They can be used for good or for evil. Money can be used to help others or to fuel greed. Health can be used for an active, fulfilling life, or it can be neglected. The problem arises when our happiness and peace of mind depend on these indifferent things. If your well-being depends on having a certain amount of money, or being in perfect health, or being recognized by others, you have surrendered to slavery, because these things, as we've seen, are beyond your absolute control. They can be taken away in an instant. Practicing indifference doesn't mean rejecting these things. It means not clinging to them in such a way that their presence or absence defines your worth or your mood. It means understanding that your true wealth, your true good, resides in your character, in your virtues, your wisdom, your courage, your justice, your moderation. If you have health, use it with gratitude. If you have money, use it with wisdom and generosity. But if one day these things are gone, your spirit remains intact because your value didn't depend on them. This habit frees you from the constant race for more. It frees you from envy towards those who seem to have more. It frees you from frustration when things don't go as you expected. It allows you to enjoy the good things in life when you have them, without your happiness depending on their permanence. Imagine the freedom of not being bound by the need for approval, by the fear of poverty, or by an obsession with appearance. When you realize that these things are indifferent to your true essence, you can interact with the world in a freer, more authentic way. This doesn't make you a person without ambitions or desires. You can wish to improve your financial situation, enjoy good health, or succeed in your career. The crucial difference is that these desires are not commands that dictate your emotional state. They are preferences, not absolute requirements for your happiness. If you achieve them, good. If not, your peace is not compromised. The practice of indifference also helps you prioritize. When you stop obsessively chasing indifferent things, you free up energy and time to focus on what truly matters, cultivating your character, your meaningful relationships, and your life's purpose. It's a radical reorientation of your priorities. It's like a tree with deep roots. The leaves, the flowers, the fruits, the weather, all are indifferent to the essence of the tree. The tree remains a tree, no matter what happens on its surface or around it. You are that tree. Your essence, your virtue, is what matters. Cultivate a healthy distance from external things. Detachment doesn't mean not enjoying. It means enjoying without attachment, without your peace depending on them. It's a stance of inner strength, of knowing that your true treasure is within you, immutable in the face of the world's vicissitudes. Stoic habit number 7. Seeing obstacles as opportunities. This is a concept that has been popularized in modern times, and rightly so, because it contains a profound and transformative truth. For the Stoics, every obstacle that appeared on the path was not a problem to be avoided, but an opportunity in disguise to practice virtue and grow. Marcus Aurelius expressed it masterfully. What stands in the way becomes the way. Think of it this way. Life isn't a flat, clear path. It's full of unexpected rocks, rivers, and mountains. Most people see these obstacles and give up, get frustrated, complain. But the Stoic sees them as the perfect training ground. If you face unfair criticism at work, is it an obstacle? Yes. But is it also an opportunity to practice patience, objectivity, assertive communication, and perhaps humility? Absolutely. If you encounter an unexpected delay, is it an obstacle? Yes. But is it also an opportunity to practice serenity, adaptability, and time management in a new way? Without a doubt. This habit teaches you to reframe your problems. You stop seeing them as barriers preventing you from moving forward and start seeing them as the very path to your evolution. Each challenge is a new muscle you need to develop, a new skill you need to master, a new layer of your strength you need to unearth. It's not that you like problems, it's that you understand they are inevitable and, therefore, your best strategy is to leverage them. It's like iron that is forged by fire to become stronger. Adversities are the fire that forges your character. When you adopt this mindset, life becomes a constant adventure of growth. You no longer fear challenges, you anticipate them, because you know that with each one, you get a little closer to the person you are meant to be. You become a master of adaptability, a champion of resilience. This perspective is the difference between being a victim of circumstances and being the architect of your own character. People who avoid obstacles at all costs stagnate. Those who embrace them and learn from them grow exponentially. The Stoic doesn't seek an easy life, but a life where character is strengthened through conscious overcoming. The obstacle is a test, an evaluation. How will you react? With complaint and despair, or with ingenuity and determination? Every time you encounter a difficulty, remember that it's an invitation to show what you're made of, to apply your reason and your virtues in practice. It's your moment to shine. The next time you encounter a wall, don't complain. Don't give up. Stop. Breathe. And ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What virtue can I practice here? How can I transform this obstacle into my greatest breakthrough? This is the path of the Stoic hero, a path of constant self-improvement through acceptance and intentional action. Stoic habit number 8. Practicing benevolence and love for humanity. Philanthropia. This is the habit that elevates Stoicism beyond mere personal self-discipline and transforms it into a deeply ethical and connected philosophy of life. The Stoics believed in philanthropia, a general love for humanity, a profound benevolence towards all human beings. This isn't superficial sentimentality, but a recognition of our fundamental interconnectedness. We are all part of the same human community. We all breathe the same air, face similar challenges, and yearn for happiness while shunning suffering. When you practice benevolence, you realize that anger, resentment, and grudges toward others harm you more than they harm them. It's like drinking poison and expecting it to hurt someone else. The Stoics understood that if a human being acts in a way we deem bad, it's often due to ignorance, fear, or faulty judgment. It's not intrinsic malice, but an error of reason. This habit compels you to act with justice and compassion towards others. It invites you to see the humanity in the other, even in those you disagree with or who have offended you. It leads you to reach out, to offer help, to forgive, and to understand. Think of the benefits of benevolence. When you act with kindness and generosity, you not only help others, but you nourish your own soul. You experience a deep sense of peace and satisfaction. You dissolve the bitterness that consumes you. You create an atmosphere of trust and cooperation around you. Benevolence also manifests in how you handle conflicts. Instead of reacting with anger, you try to understand. Instead of judging, you seek empathy. Instead of seeking revenge, you seek reconciliation and understanding. The Stoics, and Marcus Aurelius in particular, constantly reminded themselves that we are all part of one body, one universal reason. When one member of the body suffers or acts wrongly, it affects the whole. Therefore, The well-being of the whole is our own well-being. This perspective encourages mutual aid and cooperation, even with those with whom we have differences. Practicing benevolence is also an act of personal liberation. You free your heart from the burden of resentment, constant judgment, and the need for others to conform to your expectations. You recognize that the only person you can control is yourself, and your choice to extend kindness and understanding, regardless of the other's response, is an act of personal power. This habit challenges you to go beyond your self-interest. It reminds you that you are a citizen of the world, and that your well-being is intrinsically linked to the well-being of the community. That's why the Stoics advocated for active contribution to society, for living a life that benefits others. It's not about being a savior, but about being a good human being. It's about being a force for good in the world, no matter how small your sphere of influence. Start with small actions, a sincere compliment, attentive listening, selfless help, a kind word. Every act of benevolence you perform not only improves the external world, but transforms your own heart. It's the path to a deeper happiness, one that arises from connection and service. Stoic habit number 9, living in harmony with nature. Logos. This habit is perhaps the most philosophical of all, but its application is profoundly practical and transformative. For the Stoics, living in harmony with nature didn't necessarily mean going to live in the forest. Although they certainly appreciated the natural world, it meant living in harmony with the logos, with the universal reason that governs the universe. Think of the universe as a grand order, a perfect and interconnected system. Everything in it has its place and purpose. Seasons change, stars revolve, gravity works. This order is not arbitrary. It is the manifestation of an inherent reason. Living in harmony with nature, then, means recognizing that we are part of this order. It means accepting the way the world is, instead of constantly fighting against it. It means understanding that there are cycles, that there are things we cannot change, and that our wisdom lies in aligning ourselves with what is inevitable. This connects directly with habit number 1, discerning what is within your control and what is not. Living in harmony with nature means accepting the reality of what you cannot control: aging, illness, death, the behavior of others, unexpected events. Instead of resisting these realities, you accept them with serenity. But it's not a passive acceptance. It's an active acceptance that allows you to find your place within this grand scheme. You ask yourself, given how things are, how can I respond in the most rational, wise, and virtuous way? This habit also implies living in accordance with your own rational nature. Human beings have the unique capacity for reason, for logic, for conscious choice. Living in accordance with nature is using that reason to guide your actions, to choose good, to act with virtue. It is using your intellect to understand the world and to navigate it with wisdom. When you live in harmony with nature, you stop swimming against the current of the universe. You flow with it. You understand that there is a time for everything, a time for action, a time for stillness, a time for growth, a time for decay. And in that understanding, you find a profound peace. You free yourself from the illusion that you have to control every aspect of your life. You become more adaptable, more patient, more serene. You recognize the beauty in the natural order of things, even in adversity, because you understand that everything serves a purpose in the great tapestry of existence. Furthermore, living in harmony with nature implies recognizing and accepting your own human nature, with its imperfections and limitations. It's not about aspiring to an unattainable perfection, but about constantly working to improve your character, understanding that error is part of the learning process. It's a path of self-acceptance and continuous self-improvement. It also implies understanding the interconnectedness of all things. Every action you take has repercussions. Living in harmony with the logos means acting in a way that benefits the whole, recognizing our responsibility as part of this vast interdependent system. It's a call to ethical and conscious action. This habit invites you to humility and wisdom. Humility to recognize your place in the universe. Wisdom to use your reason and your virtues to thrive within that order. It is a path to true inner freedom, a freedom that arises from radical acceptance and intentional action in harmony with the great dance of life. Stoic habit number 10, the constant practice of virtue. And here we come to the 10th and perhaps most important of all Stoic habits, the constant practice of virtue. For the Stoics, virtue was not an abstract concept or a list of rules. It was human excellence, the highest good, the path to a full and meaningful life. The 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism are: 1. Wisdom, not just academic knowledge, but the practical wisdom to discern what is good, bad, and indifferent, to make rational decisions, and to understand the world as it is. 2. Courage, not just physical bravery, but the moral courage to act correctly, to face your fears, to stand up for what is right, and to accept what you cannot change with fortitude. 3. Justice, not just legal justice, but fairness, kindness, and benevolence towards all human beings, treating others with respect and dignity. 4. Moderation, temperance, mastery over your desires and impulses, balance, self-discipline, control over your passions, and the ability to say enough. Each of the 9 previous habits, and indeed every facet of your life, is an opportunity to practice these virtues. It's not about achieving them once and for all, but about a continuous effort, a daily refinement. It's a journey, not a destination. The constant practice of virtue means that every interaction, every decision, every thought is an opportunity to be wiser, braver, more just, more moderate. When you face a difficult situation, you ask yourself, how would a wise person respond? How would they act with courage? What would be most just here? How can I remain calm and moderate? This is true wealth for the Stoics. It's not your possessions, your status, or your fame. It's the state of your character, the quality of your soul. When you cultivate these virtues, you build an inner fortress that is unshakable. You become immune to the fluctuations of the external world, because your happiness doesn't depend on them. It depends on you, on your internal choices. Virtue is the only thing that is completely within your control. You can lose your job, your health, your loved ones, your possessions, but no one can take away your ability to choose virtue, to act with wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. This habit gives you a higher purpose in life. It's not just about surviving or seeking fleeting pleasures. It's about flourishing as a human being, reaching your highest moral and rational potential. It's about living a life of integrity, honor, and meaning. The pursuit of virtue is a journey of continuous self-transformation. There is no endpoint, only constant improvement. Every time you choose patience over impatience, honesty over lying, generosity over greed, you are sculpting the best version of yourself. These small acts, repeated over and over, build an unyielding character, and it is in this process of seeking and practicing that you find true eudaimonia, the flourishing happiness the Stoics described. It's not a fleeting emotion, but a lasting state of well-being that comes from living in harmony with your reason and your highest values. It's the deep satisfaction of knowing you are living a worthy life. Don't seek perfection, seek progress. Every day, a small step, every small virtuous decision brings you closer to the person you want to be. This is the essence of the Stoic life, an incessant pursuit of excellence of character, a journey that will transform you from the inside out, and that will equip you with the peace and strength that will endure throughout your entire existence. The dawn of a new life, your choice, your power. We have traveled a path together. We have explored 10 Stoic habits that, in their simplicity, hold monumental wisdom. From learning to distinguish what you control from what you don't, to practicing the visualization of loss to appreciate the present more, from embracing impermanence to live with urgency, to exercising self-discipline to be free, from daily reflection for growth to indifference to the superficial, from seeing obstacles as opportunities to extending benevolence to all humanity, and finally, the constant practice of virtue. Now, the fundamental question is, what will you do with this wisdom? It's not about memorizing concepts, but about living them. It's not about reading about Stoicism, but about being Stoic. Understand that change doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process, like sculpting a statue. Each day, you chip away a bit of the stone, revealing the form that was already within. Each day, a small effort, a small conscious choice. Life will continue to present you with challenges. There will be moments of frustration, pain, uncertainty. But now you have a toolbox. You have a compass. You have a perspective that allows you to not only survive the storms, but to navigate them with mastery. Always remember, you have the power to choose. The world can impose circumstances on you, but it can never impose your response. Your mind is your castle, and you are its sovereign. No one can enter without your permission. This is not a path for the weak. It is a path for those who are tired of being dragged by currents, for those who long for a life of purpose and peace. It requires courage to face your own inner demons, wisdom to discern the truth, justice for yourself and others, and moderation to govern your impulses. Start today. Choose just one habit we've discussed and commit to practicing it diligently for a week. Observe how you feel, how your perspective changes. Then, add another. Small, consistent steps are the key. The Stoic life is not a renunciation of happiness, but the pursuit of a deeper, more lasting happiness, one that does not depend on the ephemeral, but that arises from your own unbreakable character. It is the promise of a life lived with serenity, with purpose, with fulfillment. I encourage you to take this wisdom and make it your own. Don't just keep it in your mind. Allow it to take root in your heart and guide your actions. Freedom awaits you. Peace awaits you. Mastery over your own life is within your grasp. It's time to claim it. It's time to live a life that honors the immense capacity you have within you. The time is now. Rise up. Live. Be stoic.